Hi, this is Pierre for Winmay. Today's topic is writing good college admissions essays. This includes supplemental essays and it includes personal essays, for example, on the Common App. The first thing you want to do before you start thinking about writing an essay is want to know deadlines, specifically application deadlines. Some schools, for example, will have early admission opportunities, like for example, early decision or early action. And in those cases, you need to make sure that your essays are complete by that time. So the first tip is going to be to know deadlines with regard to college applications, to know up to what point would you have to turn in the essay. So that gives you a window of time for you to work on the essay. The next thing you want to know is requirements. So in this case, we're going to switch over to looking at requirements for the Common App essay. So in this case, let's say I was applying to Cornell University, which is a Common App college. You see that for the personal essay, you have a minimum word count of 250 words and you have a maximum word count of 650 words. Now pay attention to whether it's a word count or character limit, because they're very different. So yeah, this is pretty standard for the Common App personal statement. The next thing, after you know the requirements, which basically tells you what kind of space you have to work with, or if there's anything in particular that you need to include as part of your essay, the next thing would be to analyze the prompts, the topics. So again, we're going to refer to the Common App, the topics for this year. And so this is a list of the topics. So we'll go through them. Some students, the first one, some students have a background, identity, interest, or talent that is so meaningful, they believe their application would be incomplete without it. If this sounds like you, then please share your story. Next one, the lessons we take from obstacles we encounter can be fundamental to later success. Recount a time when you faced a challenge, setback, or failure. How did it affect you? And what did you learn from the experience? The third one is reflect on a time when you questioned or challenged a belief or idea. What prompted your thinking? What was the outcome? The next one, reflect on something that someone has done for you that has made you happy or thankful in a surprising way. How has this gratitude affected or motivated you? Fifth one is discuss an accomplishment, event, or realization that sparked a period of personal growth and a new understanding of yourself or others. The sixth one is describe a topic, idea, or concept that you find so engaging that it makes you lose track of all time. Why does it captivate you? What or who do you turn to when you want to learn more? And then number 7, share an essay on any topic of your choice. It can be one you've already written, one that responds to a different prompt, or one of your own design. So in this case, if we're going to be writing the personal statement for Common App, we would have to choose one of these topics. Note that the last one is pretty open-ended. You can pretty much use something you've written before. Now, there's something to be said about the selection of which prompt you're going to respond to. Keep in mind that millions of students are going to be responding to the same prompts. So in some sense, you want to cater to your strengths. In other words, choose a topic that you think that you would write your best essay in. If anything, you should choose 2 topics, do 2 essays, and then decide which one you think is a better essay between those 2, and also get some feedback from maybe your friends or family. And if you can, obviously your English professors as well. So that's the first thing that I'd say is important when choosing your topic. You have to make sure that it's a topic that you think you can write a strong essay for. And the other thing is that given that this is a personal statement, right, for the context of Common App, you want to make sure that it's personal. In other words, if there's something that is asking about your particular experience, you want to make sure that you focus it on your particular experience as well as how it affected you in particular. For example, if we look at number 4, reflect on something that someone has done for you that has made you happy or thankful in a surprising way. How has this gratitude affected or motivated you? So it's talking about like something happened in your life. So What does that mean for you? So you have to tie it back. You have to make it personal. And you should do it in such a way that you can craft an essay that also shows off your personality or character traits. You want them to get to know you a little bit as well in your essays. This is not your typical 5-paragraph essay format. This is, you have certain space constraints. You need to make sure that you write a unique and effective essay. Okay, so after you've done that, you've chosen your 2 topics, right? Your primary topic and your secondary topic. Then the next thing you have to do is brainstorm. So this is you on your own coming up with ideas, or maybe quotes, anything that you think that you would include in your essay, any references, of course, ideas and how they're connected, whether you think that you might tell your story in a certain sense, like in a certain style. This is the time to do that. So this is your brainstorming stage. After that, you want to research. So this will be whether you're researching on the topic or you're learning about other essays that have been successful as well. So, for instance, you can research for number 1, symptoms of a background, identity, interest, or talent. So if you want to talk about your background, let's say your ethnic background, let's say you're from a particular country, you can talk about how that sense of heritage, that sense of pride in where you're from, has allowed you to view the world in a certain way and given you like a certain sense of confidence. So in that case, you would have to research a little bit more, right? Your ethnic background and see what kind of challenges your people faced, in the past, and see how that connects to you. And so that would be an example of doing research for one of these essay prompts. Again, this would extend to any essay prompt. And sometimes you could do research for any prompt. But the next thing I wanted to talk about was when you're going to look up examples of good essays. Okay? So this would be a resource that I would consider getting. So it's called 100 Successful College Application Essays. And it says include advice from college counselors and admissions officers. So this would give you a good example of what a good successful essay is for an elite college. And so the idea is that these are, references that you can see and look at. And in some sense, maybe get a sense of inspiration from them and see what works. The next step would be planning out your essay. So this is going to be done in outline format. So you would include your thesis, perhaps your opening, let's say your opening line, like the hook that you're going to use to get the reader's attention. After that, you're going to include your 3 topic sentences, and then you can include supporting details into each one. There's many ways that you can outline your essay, but the main thing is to have the skeleton mapped out. That is the thesis, your topic sentences, and your supporting details. And then from there, you can fill in the details and kind of either improvise on the spot or really just plan everything out carefully and methodically. Depends on your writing style, but this is definitely the time to map everything out, and then you can make changes along the way if necessary. Once you're done outlining your essay, you've done most of the work already. Now it's time to write your first draft. So you'll go ahead and do that. And once you finish, the next tip would be to have your essay peer reviewed. So that is allow, fellow students or your professors or your family members to read your essay and give you constructive criticism on it. So that way you can improve it. They're going to be a good audience. And in some sense, it might be more fruitful to consider someone that is outside of your circle to read your essay, since they might have less bias and give you a little bit more objective, constructive criticism. So after getting all of that feedback, then you make the necessary changes, and then you can go ahead and come up with your final draft. And in working in your final draft, you definitely want to make sure that everything is polished you have checked all the other steps that we mentioned, and you want to make sure that you take advantage of all the resources you have in terms of spell checking and grammar checking. You can use resources such as Grammarly to see if there's alternative ways to state things. You can get feedback from your English professors who will know very well in terms of how to navigate, the language used and the grammar and things like that. So for additional final touches on the essay, and then once you're done, you can go ahead and upload the essay and make sure that it abides by the length requirements and everything like that to make sure everything is fine. So this is for Common App personal essays. It's for supplemental essays for college if necessary. It could be for scholarship essays. You can generalize this process across basically any type of essay when it comes to college admissions. And even for your school essays, it might also prove helpful and useful. So I hope that sheds a little bit of light into how to write an effective essay. And recalling my own experience, I remember for the supplemental essays, which I think was part of the reason why I also went to Cornell University, apart from everything else, was that in the supplemental essay, I really did, I think, a really good job in terms of stating how my plans and my intention, once I made it to Cornell, what I would do given that my intended major was astrophysics. And so I talked about doing research at the observatory, which is on campus. I talked about working with certain professors. So I basically demonstrated a lot of preparedness and intention, and I feel like that conviction was very helpful in terms of demonstrating my intellectual maturity at the time, and the fact that I had done my homework, so to speak. So that can be helpful if you're going to be writing essays that talk about what do you plan to do once you get accepted on campus. Like what will be your plans in the next 4 years? What are your goals? And so I hope that was helpful, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you.